Hey guys, what is up? My name is Meaghan and welcome back to Book Talk with Meg. So, basically, my life has changed pretty much drastically over the past week because I have finally graduated from my school program, which means I'm finally on vacation and moving on to bigger and better things. Because I wanted to celebrate the fact that I'm finally done with school, I did purchase a lot of different books, which is why I'm hauling them for you today, even though I had a book haul not too long ago. I also want to let you guys know that you should really watch my next reading vlogs. They're going to be so much fun. I'm on vacation for like a month, so I'll be doing a bunch of reading, as well as going to Mexico in the next 2 weeks. So that's also something I'm going to try to vlog as much as humanly possible. So if you guys are interested in reading vlogs, vacation vlogs, just contemporary books and my thoughts on reading, don't forget to subscribe down below. And without further ado, I'll start the video because we have like 15 books here. I will not be going in any particular order because all the books are just stacked up next to me. I'm going to pick and discuss them as I go along. The first book I recently purchased is actually a graphic novel called Sheets by Brenda Tumner, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. This is a middle grade graphic novel and it follows two different characters, Marjorie and also this little ghost we have here. And basically this is just the story of Marjorie, and she runs a laundromat. So we follow her story and her growing up and dealing with how hard it is to maintain a company and help your family out when you're like 12 years old or something. And we also follow the ghost, who is actually a dead 11-year-old boy, and he is kind of in the ghost world as well as in the real life world. Actually, he encounters Marjorie in the real life world, and that's how their stories collide. That's what it's all about. The next book I have is also a graphic novel, and that is Fence Volume 2 by a multitude of different authors, including C.S. Pacat, Joanna the Mad, and Joanna Lafuente. I adored Fence Volume 1. This is a LGBTQ romance and it includes fencing. It's basically the story of Nicholas, who is the character right here, as he tries out for the fence team in a college. Very fun, very action-packed, and the graphic design in here, absolutely gorgeous. My first actual novel is My Life with the Walter Boys by Ali Novak. She is the author of Paper Hearts and The Heartbreakers. I adored both of those contemporary romances. This is again a contemporary romance that follows our main character Jackie, who after her parents die moves across the state into the Walter family, which has 11 boys and 1 girl, but she acts like a boy, so technically 12 boys, and it's basically Jackie adapting herself to life with the Walter boys and possibly falling in love. I am guessing, as Ali Novak is kind of like a romance author in the YA genre. This was a Wattpad before, but I don't want you guys to think just about the Wattpad, because Heartbreakers and Paper Hearts were also Wattpad novels, and they were phenomenal in my opinion. I adored them, so don't let that frighten you if you're interested in any of these books. So this was the first one she actually wrote. I'm very interested to see where this story takes me. I then have Broken Prince, which is the sequel to Paper Princess in the Paper Princess series by Aaron Watt. This is like a 5 or 6 book series, and it is a new adult romance series. How many times can I say series? This is the sequel, so obviously I'm going to talk about Paper Princess. Paper Princess follows our main character Ella, and basically Ella has never really been in contact with her father, and at the beginning of our novel, the main character Ella's mother passes away. Ella has forged her signature on school papers to kind of keep herself autonomous. She doesn't want to go into a foster home, and later on this man named Callum Royal goes to school and he's like, I'm your legal guardian, you're gonna have to come with me. It's Ella's story on adapting with living with the royal boys. There are 5 different boys, and it's also a hate to love romance with one of them. Very steamy. I adored it. The first one ended on a cliffhanger, which is why I immediately purchased Broken Prince. For a book I don't know much about, we have The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, which will be a movie at the end of May. I purchased this book because I want to read it before I actually go out and see the movie. A lot of people have been talking about this. This is a dual book narrative writing style story. I don't know what I'm saying, but it follows Natasha and Daniel, and I think Natasha is the kind of person who really believes in facts, and Daniel is a little bit more of a faith believer, and their paths intertwine. This is a romance YA contemporary novel, and everybody has really enjoyed it from the people I've watched and trust, so I really want to read this before I go see the movie. I also purchased Enchantée by Gita Trelease, which is a fantasy novel which throws a little bit of change up in here because I am a very big contemporary reader, but this really piqued my interest because it's set in Paris in the 1700s. I don't really know much about the premise. I forgot a part of the summary, but I know it sounds like the kind of fantasy novel I will enjoy, and I loved the city of Paris. It was a very fun city to visit, and because I've seen the historical landmarks and what Paris has to offer, I think it's going to be cool to read a book that's set there because I'll actually have the visuals to see and remember what Paris looked like, which will probably make this read even more enjoyable. This is the UK paperback. There is a used essay hardback, not a fan of it. This one, however, I find that it is absolutely gorgeous, and the little tagline here says "Love, Magic, Revolution," so I'm assuming it's going to be maybe about the French Revolution. Was that in the 1700s? I don't remember. I got that. A very exciting new release I got is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McKinston, I believe is how you pronounce the author's last name. This is a new adult novel about two boys. One of them is the president's son, and the other one is in somewhere in the UK, like British relations, and I think both of these two guys don't hit it off at first. They're not very kind to each other, and for the press they have to like make up and look and appear as they are friends. I think it's going to be a hate to love romance, and everybody has been loving this book. I'm for sure going to bring this to Mexico, read the crap out of it, and let you guys know what I think, but I think this might be one of my favorite books of the year if it's as good as everybody else has said. It's a blurb by Taylor Jenkins Reid's Christina Lauren, and it says, "What happens when America's first son falls in love with the Prince of Wales?" Guess we'll find out. I think this is going to be fun, hopefully a little bit steamy and different from what I read, and probably introduce me maybe to a little bit of Wales and the UK. I would enjoy that. Another May 14th release, which I purchased for myself as a graduation gift, was The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which Christina Lauren actually just blurbed this book. And this is a adult romance, which I don't read a lot of, but this one piqued my interest. This is about our main character Olive, who has a twin sister who was getting married, and at the wedding everybody gets sick because of seafood except Olive and the groom's brother. Because Olive's sister had booked a honeymoon that was non-refundable, Olive is sent to enjoy the honeymoon in Hawaii with the groom's brother, which Olive doesn't really like, and basically it's going to be them pretending to be lovers because honeymoon, and probably them falling in love in the course of the honeymoon journey. This cover is so aesthetically pleasing. It says, "For two sworn enemies on the Hawaiian trip of a lifetime, anything can happen, maybe even love." I'm all here for it. Again, for sure bringing this to Mexico. Hopefully I can take some nice Instagrams, which, selfish plug, go follow my Bookstagram. I have a month off for vacation. I'm gonna start working on it. Another book I purchased, which I'm super hyped about, is Small Town Hearts by Lily Vale. This is a romance YA contemporary novel, really up my alley, and this is also very aesthetically pleasing. The covers for 2019 have been absolutely killing it. It says, "Rule number one, never fall for a summer boy." And this follows our main character. She's named Babe, and she lives in Maine. And obviously Maine is kind of a beach town. A lot of people visit for the summer, people come and go, and she always promised herself that she would not fall in love with a summer boy, meaning a boy who is a tourist, comes to Maine and leaves. Obviously, I think Babe is going to fall in love with a cute babe. Bad puns, I know. So that's all I know about this book. I think our main character might be bisexual, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to research more on that, but I've heard some people say it. So great if there's LGBTQ rep in here, it would make it even more interesting, but overall, very hyped for this one. Another book which came out on May 14th and was one of my most anticipated release for 2019 is Don't Date Rosa Santos by Nina Moreno. First of all, this cover is everything I love. I love the colors. Yellow is my all-time favorite. So happy that there's so much yellow in here. The colors are beautiful. The spine is gorgeous. And this also has Latino rep, which I feel like we don't really see in YA a lot. So I'm very happy about that. This follows our main character, Rosa Santos, who is basically cursed, and that curse has been passed down through generations. Basically, Rosa cannot date a boy with a boat because apparently he will be doomed. And this also follows Nina and her Cuban heritage, and also the decisions of, do I study in Cuba, do I study in, I believe, Florida, and her love life. I think there's going to be family in here, Cuban culture. Seems like a very interesting, rich YA contemporary. I can't wait to find out if I love it, but a lot of people who I really trust, like Chelsea Darling Reads, has given this like 4 stars, so I think it's gonna be worth the hype. Speaking of hype, I also purchased Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Because I'm trash, I still haven't read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I do own that one, and this is another book I'm very interested in by her. This follows our main character, Daisy Jones, and also a band called The Six, I believe in the 70s, and it's about how the two came together, their rising and how they fell. This is told in interview format. A lot of people have been raving about this, so hopefully it lives up to the hype for me. I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy this, but hopefully I do, fingers crossed. We then have Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Livenseller, who is the author of Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Simon Queen, which I loved that duology, and I love Trisha Livenseller's writing. She is a fantastic fantasy writer, and this, I hope, will be no exception. This is about Vikings. It's a Viking-inspired story, and I think it's about this girl who has to go on this quest to kill a god in order to redeem her reputation in her town. If not, I think she is forever kicked out. This sounds fantastic. Everybody's talking about this book because this released, I believe, in February or March of 2019. I don't pick up a lot of fantasy, but anything Trisha Livenseller writes, I will for sure pick up. Another recent release which I purchased is Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Dugan. This is actually her debut novel, and it follows our main character who actually works as a hot dog in a fair. This has a lot of different subplots. It's about saving the fairground. It's also about Lou, our main character, crushing on this boy who is the pirate in the fairgrounds, and he's like a diver and that kind of stuff. This has LGBTQ elements such as a bisexual main character, a lesbian side character. I read this already. You can see my thoughts in my recent reads at number 2 if you want to see if I enjoyed it or not, but yeah, got this one. I also got With Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. She is the author of Poet X. This is about, I believe, a single mom who wants to have a career in cooking. I'm not 100% sure what else this book follows, but I really enjoy Elizabeth Acevedo. I think this is written in like tiny chapters. I'm not sure if it's like similar to the way her first book was written, but I love it. And let's take a second to appreciate the naked cover because I haven't seen anything this gorgeous probably in my entire life. Very looking forward to reading this one, and hopefully I like it even more than the Poet X. Another graphic novel which I recently picked up is Everyone's an Alien If You're an Alien Too by Joni Sun. This is a very simple graphic novel that explores a lot of different themes on humanity, what it means to be human, and that kind of thing. I also read that, so if you want my opinions on my experience with this book, go check out my recent reads. Again, they are very helpful, and I have more time to talk about all of the books in my recent reads. Another book I purchased and am super hyped for is Final Draft by Riley Redgate. This is a book about a girl writing, so a book about writing a book. But I think this has to do with our main character who is writing a novel, and her English teacher or a teacher is one of her biggest fans, but then that teacher goes away, a new teacher comes in, and that teacher's like, you should write about experiences, things you've lived, but our main character doesn't really live anything. She's kind of like me. She doesn't really party, she doesn't go out, she doesn't drink, and so it's hard to write on experiences because she feels she had none. Maybe it's about a coming of age story or her trying to be a teen. I'm not really sure, but I'm really hyped. Now, a book that's not really similar to anything I've hauled is Cersei by Madeline Miller, and I'm so happy to finally have this in my possession. I've been wanting Cersei for a very long time, but Cersei is a very expensive book. So when I saw how cheap it was on Amazon one day, I was like, oh my god, add to cart, let's go. This is about the Odyssey and our main character Cersei. I think she is like on this island and she's learning about humans, and everybody has been raving about this book. It has beautiful end pages, and I love anything that has to do with Greek mythology. I am not the most knowledgeable person on Greek mythology, but I think that's why I enjoy it. I'm learning through fiction and non-fiction books, and I am very excited to finally be able to pick it up very soon. I also got When It's Real by Erin Watt, and that is a combination of authors. They are the ones who wrote Paper Princess and Broken Prince, which I hauled in the beginning of this video. This is a dual perspective narrative novel, and it is a musical romance, which I am a big fan of if you haven't caught on yet. This follows our main characters Oakley as well as Meaghan. I call her Bennett because that's her last name, and basically this is a story about how Oakley is a spoiled brat singer, and he needs to calm his reputation down, and so his publicist believes he should be dating a regular girl, which is where Bennett comes in, and she basically gets, I believe it's like 20 grand a month to pretend to be Oakley's girlfriend. Obviously they fall in love for reals, and this book, you guys, I loved it. I read it already, and I'm complete trash for it, honestly. Very worth it. It says, a pop star, a regular girl, the world is watching, and the world really is watching, and this book was phenomenal. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. We're down to the last three. The next book I have picked up is King of Fools by Amanda Foody, the sequel to Ace of Shades. If you guys didn't know, Ace of Shades is a series called The Shadow Game, and basically the first novel in this follows two main characters, Anne and Levi. It's a dual perspective book, and basically the story starts when Anne's mother goes missing. She gives and contact information and where to go in the city of Sint to try to find her, because obviously she's in danger if she's missing, where Anne meets Levi, asks for help, and they go on this quest. They get mixed up in the shadow game. A lot of things are at stake. There's a gambling, there's gangs. It was a good book. I hope this one is even better, but if people say it's similar to Six of Crows, I call bullshit, honestly, because it's not at all the same as Six of Crows. But it's different, very different. I do love Six of Crows better, but it's not very fair to compare the two because they're not that similar. We then have Love Songs and Other Lies by Jessica Pennington. This was a 2018 release, which I found on Book Outlet, and I am so happy that I paid like $5 for this hardcover book, because Book Outlet, as always, is a killer. This follows our main character Virginia, which I love that name, and Virginia had this heartbreak because of obviously a breakup, and she needs to get away. One of her friends got this internship for like this rock band competition thing where she's interning for 3 months. Virginia goes on the tour bus with them, where she sees her ex-boyfriend Cam, because I think he's a musician. Not everything is as it seems. I think Cam's trying to like win her back because he broke up with her for like dumb stuff, or not what it seems. I don't really know, but musical romances is probably my favorite thing in YA contemporary, so picked it up. And the last book in this haul is The Foreseeable Future by Emily Adrian, which I also got on Book Outlet. This is about a girl who, unlike her parents really wanted, decides she doesn't want to go to college and she wants to move to Seattle. In order to do that, she needs to raise money, so she starts working at this elderly home where she meets this boy. Later on in the novel, she gets the opportunity to move to Seattle and she has to weigh the pros and cons. Maybe she falls in love, maybe she starts really enjoying working with the elderly. Who knows? I probably will once I finish this book. But the cover looks gorgeous. The premise sounds fun. Love. I actually work with elderly people, so that's relatable. So that's it for my haul video, a celebration of my graduation from me to me and prepping for Mexico. So as I said in the beginning of this vlog, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Give this a like if you want more hauls and more content from me, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the videos I will be putting out because I have so much free time and so much time to put in my work for YouTube. So happy reading, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye!